I've ran Curse of Strahd over 5 times. Here's my review. Let's start things off by explaining that this is a very open world game. There's lots of variations, lots of choices that can be made, and lots of replayability to this campaign. This is possibly the most replayable campaign I have actually DM'd so far. Icewind Dale may take that spot later, but first I have to finish running it before I can be sure. The game starts off linear with the players entering Strahd's domain and are taken through really only one of 2 options that they can start with at level 1. The game is intended to get them to level 3, where then a few options open up. By the time players reach level 5 though, they'll be able to experience the game mostly as an open world, with lots of different locations and quests that can be performed. Strahd is an amazing villain, potentially one of the best, if not the best, that D&D has ever produced. He is a witty, strategic mastermind who will always be one step ahead of your players, playing a game of cat and mouse, and it's his favorite pastime. That means you as the player get to be that strategist who's constantly thinking the next step ahead. The beauty of it is, you know your players well, and while they can be unpredictable at times, you also get to have fun as a DM trying to outwit them and be that step ahead. What makes Strahd different from most villains is he shows up on average about every other session. He's constantly harassing the players, be it through witty humor, mockery, self-pity, or even just to show them that they're still mortal. I personally like to start off the game with him playing the victim, telling his tragic tale and getting their sympathy, and then eventually turning on them and baring his fangs at them to show his true nature. The story in the past is very rich and has a lot of background to it. It shows Strahd's fall and how he became the vampire and the villainous figure he is today. It talks about his one true love that was lost to his brother, and it talks about tales of vengeance, and sorrow, and also a curse that your players can either choose to break or indulge in. From bog witches to werewolves, this is a perfect game for this time of year, in this spooky season. You can start off your players in it, or even use a part of it as a one-shot adventure. This game takes players from levels 1 to 10, which is a good range, issuing a lot of quests. This game is more story-focused though, so milestone leveling tends to work better than XP leveling. This may come as a deal breaker to some people who really like XP leveling, and if that's the case, you'll just need to carefully calculate how many extra things to throw their way. But if you're okay with milestone leveling, this is one of the best campaigns I've ever used that system for. Like always, read the entire campaign book before you begin. There is an overarching story that will be much better if you actually know the entirety of it before you even begin. You can usher in little tidbits of information here and there that, when compiled together, will be that aha moment that your players have been waiting for. This place has so much to offer, even unique locations and amazing NPCs. But there are a few poor points to this campaign, and I'll go over those too. Number 1. There's a lot of heavy topics, including even cannibalism in this campaign. While it can be edited out for younger audiences and for someone who may be a little squeamish, this can be a turnoff to some people, especially to certain DMs that tend to DM for younger high schoolers or even people younger than that. This is certainly a grittier, darker tale than most, and is a great asset to the right kinds of players. Number 2, parts of the campaign can be a bit predictable. It is a gothic horror-styled game, and because of that, it plays into certain stereotypes that honestly your players will predict the same time as you would if you were the player. Just keep in mind that especially with the horror aspects, the thriller parts, where it tries to instill fear into your players, you're going to look like an amateur if you use the thriller aspects straight out of the book. I suggest you get a little more creative with those areas because they tend to be corny and predictable. Other than those small points, Curse of Strahd is an amazing campaign and is actually one of my favorites. There's a reason why I've run it 5 times. It creates a rich environment for the players to experience, amazing and interesting NPCs, and an overarching story that just leaves you breathless and stunned with every new revelation that comes about. This is truly an unforgettable game and an unforgettable experience, and is perfect for your friends who want that gothic horror style game. To be honest, you don't need a lot to make this game great, and even works with a theater of the mind style game if that's what you truly want. Though I do recommend using a grid system for your battles, Theater of the Mind works just as well, especially for a story-heavy driven experience like Curse of Strahd is. Overall, I give Curse of Strahd a 9 out of 10, and I look forward to Wizards of the Coast producing more games of its kind of style, especially with its more open world feel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.